welcome to another edition of Dream Firm Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we create generational wealth and impact for entrepreneurial accountants by systemizing how they attract, win, and retain the business of their dream clients. Today is a little informal, but that doesn't mean that the information is going to be any less stellar. So I know I'm usually in the button down and have the blazer, but I don't live in that outfit. So a little bit of a down day for me. I discussed those reasons in the Private Accountants Facebook group. If you're not already in there, be sure to go and check it out. The link will be floating somewhere around in the description of this video. But here's what we are looking to discuss today. And that is how to start your CPA firm. So I'm going to go through 15 items that I consider to be very high priority. Some of them are very obvious. Some of them are less obvious. And I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks for each of these as we go along here. So as always, be sure to take notes. And if you love this, just let us know in the comment section. Leave a little like if you don't mind. Just lets us know that ultimately you appreciate what we're putting together for you. So step number one, and this one's going to sound crazy, but if you want to start your CPA firm, get your CPA license. Shocker. All right, we can just go ahead and move past that one. And actually, before we do that, I know that the AICPA is not the most well-regarded organization for the micro full-service accounting firms in the world. Many of us, for good reasons, consider them an extension of the Big Four. They are effectively employees of the Big Four, and it shouldn't work like that, but that doesn't mean that there aren't good people in that organization, and doesn't mean that there aren't good resources. Just be very careful about what you do take from those communities, because they tend to stay stuck in the past, and they tend to serve masters that are a little bit larger than where you are when you're starting out. So just take that with a healthy grain of salt. Doesn't mean that you can't find meaningful things there. But again, step number one, get your CPA license. The market still is going to widely appreciate that designation over any other designation in the market, whether it's profit first, whether it's certified tax codes, whether it's your EA. CPA is still king. It most likely will stay king for a long time to come. And so if you want to partake in just, again, the just natural goodwill in the market, that respect, get your CPA license, because that's kind of necessary to start a CPA firm. However, found out a very interesting piece of CPA history yesterday. I was talking to Tom Wheelwright, founder of Wealthability. You guys most likely all know who Tom is. And Tom shared with me a very interesting story about how a MasterCard, excuse me, not MasterCard, how, oh man, what was it was one of the major credit card companies, how American Express, they tried to roll up and buy small CPA firms, right? Because it's interesting that there's no Big Four equivalent for the small to mid-sized business owner, right? Like the Big Four really serve that kind of like 1% to 5% of entrepreneurs, that really high level category. And the 95% of that's after that is left the regional, and then all the people listening to this. And I said, well, you know, it's kind of crazy that that's never happened. Surely people have tried. And sure enough, one of the very first attempts at this was in the early 90s. By American Express. And American Express failed so badly at this, they put hundreds of millions of dollars into it, and they had a lawsuit in the state of Florida, according to Tom. I'm going to fact check this, and you can fact check me in the comments as well, that allowed for a non-CPA to own a CPA organization. So maybe not 100% necessary to get your CPA designation, at least in Florida, according to the laws that were probably written by American Express. But point is that you should still get your license, and don't follow in that path, because that then ended up getting sold to H&R Block. H&R Block botched it, and then apparently ended up becoming McGladrey's, which is just a little accounting history for you today, courtesy of Tom Wheelwright. I'd probably mess up a few of those details, but besides the point. Step number two here, okay, to starting your CPA firm, is you got to pick a name for your firm. And there's really two options you can take here. Option one is what I refer to as kind of Roman tradition, which is just name it after yourself. If your name is Peter, call it Peter's CPA firm. If your name is Sarah, call it Sarah's CPA firm. Obviously, you may want to put your last name in there if you can mix and match it. However, the alternative option is you maybe take things forward a little bit, and you end up picking a different name for your business that is not tied directly to the owner, because this may increase the multiple as well. It's easier to sell. It's easier to change hands when it's not, well, you're not Peter, you're Tyler. So now do we have to change the domains? We have to change everything. Whereas if it's, well, you're the 5-speed CPA, maybe you work with auto companies, right? And it's like, I want to be more in the auto space, and I bought 5-speed CPA. I'm the 5-speed CPA now, or our organization is. So you can see that you can have some creative outlet here. But the main thing is, and this is point number 3 here, is once you pick your name, make sure it's short and sweet. However, when it's short and sweet, make sure the domain is available. And we've got a great point from someone in the comments right now, and this came up on another client as well, is that there are strict requirements in certain states on CPA firms. Now, this one is from Texas, and Christine, thank you for pointing this out. It was in my notes here. But it's also true in North Carolina as well, is that if you try and have a specific branded name, and I believe one of the individuals that's running into this, well, I don't want to say who, but the point is if you try and say like I'm just looking at a kitchen sink, the kitchen sink CPA, right? You're the go-to person for people who install kitchen sinks. Some states do not allow that. You have to use your name. So just check with your local state CPA regulations before you make that decision, because again, there are some stricter rules depending on which state your designation is in. And great point again, Christine, thank you for bringing that up. Regardless, point 3 is still make sure the domain is available and make sure that domain is short and sweet. One of the stupidest things when I ran my accounting firm, I didn't pick the name, but it was America's Choice Bookkeeping.com. Imagine typing Tyler at America's Choice Bookkeeping.com. Do you know how many different ways you can spell and get that wrong? A lot. Terrible branding choice. Again, not my decision, but one I had to abide by. So here's the number 4. Pick Microsoft or Google. And the point is that you want your apps to play nicely together. You want things to work well. You want to have a dedicated IT support staff. You ultimately want to make sure that your business from an operational perspective for the hub of software is something that is going to play nice. And if you're going to ask me for my opinion, I'm going Google all day long. They've been kicking Microsoft's butt in the software department for many, many years. If you're saying, but I need Excel, you can still have Excel as a standalone. Excel should not make or break your decision in terms of what is really the heart of your software operation for your firm. So just keep in mind, you have to make a decision between those two. I increasingly find people gravitating more and more into the G Suite side of things as opposed to Microsoft Office. So just pick wisely and make sure you own that choice, because it's really hard to change once you have already committed. Number 5, and this comes more towards the strategic planning, depending on where you are choosing to start. So there's really only 2 options, okay? And the reason there's only 2 options is the third option is the worst option. And the third option is what I refer to as desperation. In other words, you go cold turkey, you didn't really plan for this. And now when you're in that sales environment, they can sense that desperation, like you literally need the money. And nobody wants to feel desperation in a sales environment. So point is, option 1, have at least 6 months of life expenses in the bank, able to be paid for, able to be covered. You got 6 months, and we get to the later points where we talk about client acquisition. You should be fine. Okay, you should be fine. And I'll explain why you should be fine. And then the second option is understand that you don't have to go cold turkey from your job. I think the smartest play is to build up that side practice so that you can really just have that comfort of knowing you got at least 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month or more coming in month over month. And that gives you just some peace of mind, right? You're not going straight to zero immediately, you still have revenue. And now you have opportunities to maybe get a couple of easy referrals. You've been at it for a few months, the clients start to trust you. It's just a much easier ascension path to going full time. And then as the income grows and you need to fulfill more, you have less time to sell, you still got your 40 hours. Then again, it's not either or. Maybe you get to reduce it down to 20 hours. And now you got an extra 20 hours for marketing and sales and an extra 20 hours for fulfillment inside of your firm. And then you go up another 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month. And then all of a sudden it goes to zero because you go, wait a minute, I can make way more if I just reallocate these 20 back into this. And so once that math works in your favor, you make that transition and boom, you're rocking and rolling. Number 6, define your dream client. Now, the thing I talked about right before this was really, again, make sure you are smart in protecting your family and your lifestyle when getting ready to start your entrepreneurial endeavor. But number 6 is really the smartest thing that you can do, which is just say, who do I want to work with? Who am I targeting? Where's my expertise been? How do I make my journey easier? How do I make the skill of client acquisition something that I can acquire significantly faster because I have a target? And again, the more narrow that target is, micro full service accounting firms, the more success you are likely to have because you are now a specialist in that space. So go more narrow. Don't say small business. That is not a niche. Don't say rich people who appreciate what I do. Don't say those things, right? Like, get really, really specific with who you want to work with. We've got plenty of videos on that. So check out the rest of the YouTube channel if you want to find out more on that one. Number 7, okay? I don't know how many fingers I have. 7. Know how to price your services profitably. Do not simply go and do ambiguous market research of your surrounding accounting firms. And the reason I don't want you to do this is the hard truth that most of those firm owners won't tell you is they're either not making that much money or they're working way too many hours for the money they're making. They are not going to tell you that because they're a little embarrassed by it. Point is, when you look at the market and you go, I can offer the same, but for a little bit less. No, you cannot. You cannot. You will not have the margins to grow. You will not have the margins to support a team. I know when you go out and you start a firm or you start any business, you're a solopreneur, you want to have as much control, you want to be a world beater, but it quickly inverses. And as soon as you realize it needs to inverse and you've tracked yourself with commodity level pricing, you are in a bind. You can avoid that bind by simply understanding there's only one way to the top to reaching your goals, and it's with a premium pricing model. Again, there's a video on this channel. If you're not exactly sure about how to do that, just use a percentage of revenue model. 5% tends to be the top. 8. Okay. Make sure you have insurance, business insurance. Okay. This is important, and health insurance, right? Like, if you are used to having health insurance from your job, you need to be able to price that outside of the market, or make sure you're able to get on your spouse's plan if you have a spouse. Point is, don't neglect these things. They're important for a reason. They are required in many other countries for a reason. So please get insurance. But when you're getting insurance, get multiple quotes from multiple providers. If you need help finding good insurance providers, just drop a question in the Project Accountants Facebook group. We got 4,000 plus members in there, and they will be able to say, this person's great, this company's terrible, right? So like, crowdsource complicated questions like this amongst your peers. We're all here to help you. Number 9, this is not selective fulfillment software, because again, this is starting a CPA firm. Trial multiple fulfillment softwares. Trial Drake, trial Walter Klors, trial anything you can get your hands on. Maybe you have experience from your day job and you go, I love that software, I'm going to keep that. Cool. Build on that expertise. Don't let me stop you, right? Like, absolutely. But at the same time, maybe there's something better that's cheaper. Maybe we don't need the Rolls Royce and the Thomson Reuters ultra taxes of the world to start out, right? Maybe we go Drake. And keep also in mind, you don't need, and this might sound a little weird, but generally speaking, in the beginning, you don't need a workflow fulfillment software. and I'm making a little bit of a separation here, right? There's the actual like tax filing softwares, and then there's the softwares that tell you what to do in order to complete on your promises. Okay, so this would be your Jetpack Workflow, this would be your Financial Sense, this would be your Canopy, this would be any of the softwares that are going to say, hey, here's what to do. But that software becomes very important once you have a team member to manage. All that thing is going to tell you is what you already know how to do, and you're barely going to use it, because when you're in the solopreneur mode and you're starting out, quite frankly, you know what you have to do. So again, I tend to find that that tends to be more of a shiny object. We go and chase it, we go and learn about it, we go and think that that's going to be the solution, but it's not at the right stage in your business in which it's going to be applicable. It's so that the owner has transparency and visibility on everything that has to be done on their behalf. If you feel a little disorganized and you'd like to be able to get that, of course, feel free to be able to make that investment. But again, I think you tend to miss the main value proposition, which there has to be a small team in order for that to really give you the value that you're looking for out of it. Number 11, I think that's where we are. No, excuse me, number 10. Number 10, establish a budget of time and money for client acquisition. So if you listen to anything on this channel, you'll always hear me say, if you want to pick up a client, you're investing time or money in one way or the other. Referrals are just a long play for time and money, because you spend money to service their account, you spend time to service their account to build that trust, and eventually you get to make a withdrawal on the goodwill or the trust that you have made with that client in the form of a referral. And so my point with this is that no matter what, you have to have something allocated for client acquisition. I don't care if it's $50 a month. I don't care if it's $5,000 a month. I don't care if it's 1 hour a week. I don't care if it's 40 hours a week, because you're getting the play to take off. You got to put in the work. Be clear with what the expectations are. Set the budget. And then we'll talk about how to maximize the budget. But the main thing is be accountable to it, okay? Set it and make sure you live by it. Keep making those investments, because they will pay you back tenfold. 11, it's one thing to have a budget for client acquisition. It's another thing to make sure that you are ready to take a client. So you have to make sure that you have your engagement letters and you can define your scope of work. This is the cardinal sin of even the most established practitioners. They get into their firms, they start working, and then a client makes a request and they decide to do more work. They don't charge more. They just say, you know what, I'm just going to do more work. And then and they made another request. You know what, they're a good client. They pay on time. Apparently that's the threshold for a good client. So I should do more work, unpaid. And then, they're getting ready to sell their business. That broker really needs me to make sure I get all their financials in order. Maybe just $500, even though they're selling their business for $3 million. I think $1,500 maybe even sounds a little bit better. Okay, that sounds fair. The broker made 10%. He made 150 grand, and he needed all of our information. And I positioned that business for sale over the last couple of years of working with them. No worries. Point is, these things are coming. These requests are coming. And if you want to defend yourself and your time against the biggest trap, which is you want to help people, that's why you're in the service space. You actually give a crap. A lot of people don't give a crap. Hate to break it to you. You're going to find out eventually. A lot of people don't actually care, but you do. And people will take advantage of that. And the only way that you stop them from taking advantage of it is with it in writing. Here's what we're obligated to do. And anything outside of this, guess what? It's a separate engagement. Notice I didn't say it's an hourly rate. It's a separate engagement. I don't have this many fingers anymore. Number 12, get your social media profile set up and your website. Okay. So again, you're in the process of launching your firm. When you get ready to launch your firm, you got to announce it. When you go to announce it, people have to go somewhere to look at what you got going on. In order to make the announcement, you need a platform to make the announcement from, right? Like I could go make an announcement in my bathroom right now and say, hey, I started my CPA firm, but like literally no one's in my bathroom. I hope no one's in my bathroom at least, right? It's like, so you have to make sure that you have the underlying just accessibility to your network. And then once you are, we haven't gotten to the announcement part yet, but once you're ready to make the announcement, that you're already connected to them and that you can drive them to something that lets them understand what you're all about. We got free website videos on the channel again, but the main thing is you don't need to overspend on this, but you certainly want to make sure that you have something that looks nice, reflects your value at the very least. Number 13, another cardinal sin. You are not on call 24/7. I understand you want to be available. I understand that you want to be proactive. But there is no such thing as an accounting emergency that the client themselves did not create. You are not their savior. And if you are not on call, right, you have to identify the ways in which you are accessible and when. So to be perfectly clear, point number 13 is determine how clients can contact you. So what are the mediums? Walk-in, phone, text message, email, secure client portal, Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn direct message, right? Like I could keep going. Like there are so many ways. No, if I could wave my hand and solve what I would consider to be the biggest problem that takes up the most amount of time, that produces zero productivity across all of the accounting space. If I could wave a wand and solve that problem today, I would disconnect every phone line. And I would say and I would just have every single accounting firm automatically, robot just goes, hey, our firm's no longer taking inbound phone calls. Go to your firm's website to book a call, and we can't wait to speak with you. If they book the call, I know if you ever played phone tag in your life, you know what a meaning, even just for like the contractor coming to your house, like anything, it is the most inconvenient, meaningless waste of time imaginable. And it only happens because we allow it to happen. So stop allowing it. Simple as that. Number 14. Now we're gonna hit the ground running here. Do not neglect the power of your existing network. Announce that you are open and ready for business. Let them know. And what's, again, fascinating about this is most of the firms that have been around for even a couple of years, I go, when was the last time you just tapped your network, just said hello to everyone, just tapped them on the shoulder? How you been? You still good on the tax front? How's your accounting? Getting ready to start a business? How's your business been going? Has it been growing a lot? Are you aware of the new tax law changes? Just taking the smallest fraction of time to be proactive in communication, definitely when you launch, and definitely every 6 months, 18 months, 12 months, just to say hello to your network. That is the basis of Igniter. It's so easy to ignite a firm to get several thousands of dollars worth of sales easily by just saying, hey, remember me? I'm your old friend. I'm your old colleague. I'm that guy that decided to accept your random Facebook friend request, right? Like that's me. How you doing? Crazy, right? And 15, this is the final tip that I'm going to provide today. I know I'm going a little bit longer than I typically do, but I felt that there were a lot of things that needed to be covered here because most of the lists I saw online were just like kind of weak. So hopefully this one's a little bit more comprehensive. But number 15 is sign your first client, right? Like that's the true sign that you have started your CPA firm. Everything up until this point, it's a lot of preparation. and you've been preparing for a long time. You got to prepare a lot to pass that exam. You got to prepare a lot just to be able to have the skill sets to be able to service clients. You got a lot to prepare for. But if there's one skill set that you will be forced to develop, like it's not optional, it's your sales skills. And that word, for whatever reason, has become tainted. It's got some good reasons for why it's become tainted. But please understand, it does not have to be that way. There are ways to approach the sales environment that are extremely beneficial to you, and more importantly, to your prospective dream client. And if I could give you just one simple tip to really take the pressure out of that sales environment so that you, regardless of how introverted you feel you are, regardless of how much you hate sales, whatever it is, let it be this. You are not trying to get anyone to do something that they don't want to do. You're not. You're not the used car salesman pushing some shady car that the engine's going to fall out in 50 miles from now. You are a service professional. You are the most trusted profession. You're just looking to find common ground. You're trying to make sure that they are a quality enough individual to work with you. That's what you're doing. You're not trying to like, come on in, let me pull you in here, let me smoke and mirrors you, let me. No, stop. Stop thinking of it through that lens. I'm here to make sure that you qualify to work with us. Because your time is precious. And if you say yes to the wrong people, if you try to bring the wrong people into your firm in exchange for a quick buck, you're going to lose your time. You're going to lose your patience, and you're going to get burned out super fast. And it does not ever have to be that way. So I hope you have enjoyed this very simple Dream Firm Spotlight on how to start your CPA firm. If you are in the process of starting your CPA and or micro full service accounting firm without the designation, that's cool too, don't get me wrong. And you're looking to accelerate that process. You ultimately want it to move faster, more efficiently. You don't want to have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to client attractions, winning those clients, keeping those clients, building out your network with like-minded peers. Well, just know that I'd love to see if you qualify to work with us. So thank you so much for taking the time. You can check out the links down below if you'd like to apply to work with dream firms, and never ever forget that only you can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your workday, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside of the Create Your Dream Firm program in the not so distant future.